Hello, you're listening to the DTA Wrestling Podcast, available on the go with Spotify, Amazon Music, and Acast.
Welcome back, boys. It's been another quiet week in the crazy world of sports entertainment, professional wrestling. How are we? Are we good, Tom? Danich, we good?
Yeah, grand. All good.
Good, yeah.
Very,
Danich is in a wind tunnel. Where are you, in the cave?
Sorry, me mic. No, I'm in my little home office, but it's very, echoey.
He's dungeon. He's in his dungeon. He's in his McMahon dungeon. The heart dungeon. No.
He's down there with Mick. Him and Mick hanging out in their dungeon.
Stretch him. Got Stuart.
Stuart. The ghost of Stuart. Stretch him, Bruce.
I've got an idea for a character. Desk man.
Oh, man. No, but yeah, it's been... We're leading into Wrestle Dream, aren't we? That's today. For those that aren't, the 1st of October. That's tonight, so to speak, or for Tom in Japan.
Yeah, tomorrow morning, 5 to 8 in the AM for me. I think it's 1 AM for you guys.
It is, yeah.
In the morning. It's a hell of a pay-per-view.
Yeah, it is.
It's an interesting one. So it's a good way to kind of kick off and talk about what's happening. So what we initially thought that the main event was going to be Bryan Danielson, right?
Which should be the main event.
Which should be the main event. Yeah, it should be, but it's not. The main event, they announced it. The main event is Darby Allin versus Christian Cage. It is the main event.
Three Falls match.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Of course, it's going to take the longest amount of time. You'll put it at the very, very end to close the show off, which I think enforces your theory, Aid, about it being a turn on Christian Cage, that Luchasaurus turns on him. So it ends with this big kind of cliffhanger of what's going to happen between those two. But yeah, I was very shocked and surprised to see that it was like in a big curveball. The main event for Wrestle Dream is going to be Darby Allin versus Christian Cage.
And now it's turned into Wrestle Nightmare.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I like Darby. I like the way Christian
Someone's got to.
acts. I mean, I don't like the way he talks. We've been over this in the first episode about how he, every time he finishes a sentence that he has an asthma attack, you know. But I like the son of Sting kind of gimmicky. That's probably why you don't like him very much, is that every time you have to watch him, he has to come out with Sting. It's probably...
Well, I quite like that they did that with AEW, that everybody... They did it a while ago, didn't they? Everybody got a legend, like FTR got Tully. And I like that. And they realised he was weak, like you're saying, Darby. That's probably the weakest aspect of his thing, is the mic works. And they're like, Sting, no matter what you say about Sting, Aid, he is great on the mat. He's just dead comfortable now. Like, he did that promo before All In, I think it was, where he was like Joker Sting. And it was like, this is somebody who's just so comfortable on the mic. But no matter how you feel about that character, he can just sit there and he just... It was like, you know, having breakfast for him. It was dead easy. And I was like, that's why he's with Darby Allin, because you don't have to have Darby Allin say anything, because Sting's just so good at that.
I just wait for Sting just to do that. That's all I wait for. That's just the best thing.
The orgasm.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's the crow noise.
Well, I've not seen many crows sounding like that, mate.
Oh,
There must be these Japanese crows.
You give me your best Sting crow. Let's go. No. Yeah,
not a chance.
You absolute waste.
Don't he just hang on? Don't he just do the normal Stinger noise?
Woo!
Yeah, don't he just do
the
that?
Ric Flair?
Yeah. No. So for me, Darby Allin, I think when he had those promos with MJF when they were doing the Four Pillars match, I think he showed that he can actually cut a promo. Yeah, fair enough. He's got that weird cadence of the sentence.
Yeah. Same as Becky Lynch. It's the same Becky Lynch cadence. Yeah.
But I think he does. I think he can cut a promo. So I think, as Danny said, when they all had a legend / mentor, it did help him with Sting, and yeah, I hate Stinker, but he is fantastic on the mic. I mean, he should be. He's 63 years old. He's been in the business for 40 years. I mean, if you can't talk after 40 years, something's wrong with you. No. But he is. He is phenomenally good on the mic. And yeah, that promo with All In was really good. I hate Joker Sting. I've never liked Joker Sting. Even in TNA, I hated Joker Sting. I hate Sting. I hate Steve Boardman. I hated him when he was with the Warrior. I just hate him.
Right.
I hate him about.
Yeah, wait until the film becomes quite old before he nicks the gimmick off it, doesn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Darby can talk. I think having that as the main event, it's going to go about 40 minutes, I think, as max. Do we think Christian can go that long now?
I was going to say the whole thing with Christian that he doesn't wrestle. You know, like the idea that Luchasaurus was, you know, the whole thing about why he's getting heat is like Luchasaurus does the work and Christian claims the wins. So yeah, I don't know how that works now. If he, like you said, I don't know if Christian's got like a 20-minute, half an hour match in him.
I don't think he has, and I'm going call my shot now. I hope it doesn't happen because I don't see the logic in it happening. But I kind of fancy now. I said Darby, but I kind of fancy Christian to retain and Jungle Boy to come back and join him and cost Darby that belt.
Ooh, okay.
Because you physically can't have Jack Perry as a face now. After all the stuff that happened with CM Punk, you can't. But it's the AEW crowd. The AEW crowd might go,
anyway,
yeah, we got rid of Punk. He was heel. But now all that stuff's with Punk's happened. Are they going to go, yeah, we can cheer him now because he's got rid of the bad guy, so to speak. So will Tony go, let's try and negate that and make him more of a cock?
Yeah.
And make him go back to kind of where it was. And then they can tease again that feud with them and how they were for the TNT and just go off and just put Darby with Summit else. Just I don't care. Just keep him away from my screen. Just let him do another 4 coffin matches. That's all he does.
Well, he's got this thing, hasn't he, with the guy that he's brought in, like the young lad who like they trained together and grew
up. Nick Wayne,
yeah, and he's got that kind of going, and I still feel like I've talked about like Sting and Darby having like a passing of the torch match when Sting's ready to be done. When Sting's done and dusted with all this, that he goes like, I'm giving you the bat, I'm giving you the coat, whatever it is. The kind of the handing over sort of way of doing it. But that's really interesting to have Jungle Boy or Jack Perry come back and cost Darby. Or even, but like siding with Christian after everything. But then if he turns on Christian, it's a face move, isn't it? So, yeah. But if he turns on Darby, that could be very interesting. But then this is kind of in like my kind of issue that's been happening. I wrote this down. It's about the Judgment Day, about Bloodline, about the Don Callis family. Isn't it just that? Isn't it just if he then joins Christian Cage and Luchasaurus, aren't we just getting another Combat Club, another Elite, another Don Callis family? It feels like you have to push all of these rising stars into a faction so that they will get screen time to cement them, and it's just feeling really odd and not.
There is a saying in booking wrestling. Now, when I say it, Danny will know exactly where it's come from. I'm sure it was Bischoff that said it. I'm sure it was Easy.
Oh, wow.
He came up and he said, it's easier to book wrestling in general when people are in factions because it's less stories to book. So it's less messy. And then it's less time consuming. Now, I don't know at the moment how big Tony's booking council is. I know it's Tony, Jericho, QT Marshall. I know it's those three 100%, but I don't know who else is there. I don't know who else has input if they just go, well, you know what, Rusev, you do what you want, come to me, I'll say yes or no. I don't know if it works that way. Or they have like Vince has a group of writers, they all get together, well, I say Vince, it's Triple H now, and then they hash it out and then they go from there.
Yeah.
But the old rule is it's easier to book factions than it is singles, which is obvious because you get things. That's why I think it was 2 years ago, was it, Danish, where everybody in AEW was in a faction. You had the Pinnacle, you had Inner Circle, you had the Elite.
2-3 years ago,
Dark Order.
Everything was a faction, wasn't it?
Dark Order, everything was a faction. So it might be that way, and then obviously you have Jungle Boy keeping that heat, and then it's like, well, why are you going that route? I don't know. I just have that sneaky suspicion that Jungle Boy's going to come back, and he's either going to cost Christian and go for Darby and have them two feud. But I don't see that, because why would you, after indefinitely suspending somebody for what's happened, come back and reward him with title shots?
No, yeah.
I don't see it.
Was it wrestling? That's what happened. Can you remember? Like, that's what happened with Michaels in the 90s. He got done for like drugs.
Michaels, though.
And he wins. He goes have like the feud with Razor. Razor gets the belt, which like you'd go, oh well, they're punishing him. No, that moved Michaels up the card. Yeah. It wasn't you being punished for losing your IC belt. It was like, right, you're moving up into the world title picture now.
I think because the heat is still so the heat is still gunning for him. Like, wrestling fans don't particularly care about the wrestler's personal life outside of the ring. So when when Punk got fired, people were like, okay, Punk's gone. Like, not Punk's gone, Phil's gone, Phil Brooks is gone. Like, the slander this now, but the troublemaker in the dressing room, the guy who was the problem, who was causing issues, has been fired. But even now, AEW is better without Phil Brooks. But I don't think AEW is. I don't want to watch it because we haven't got CM Punk. We haven't got that character anymore. We haven't got that thing. So if Jack Perry is gone, but he comes back as Jungle Boy Jack, whatever, I don't know. I didn't understand. He needed a switch. He
dropped it, didn't he? He dropped Jungle Boy.
He needed a heel turn. He needed something to happen for him because he was not getting over enough as a face. And the heel turn really ramped him up, and turning on Hook, and that being Taz's kid, and like really. But then he became a no backbone heel. He was just he did.
Why did he have Beethoven's Fifth Symphony? Why did he have that? It made nothing.
A lot of the stuff they did made no sense.
And once it like the heel move of like he had the Baltimore song and everybody joins in, everybody loves it, and you can't join it. You know, like when Nakamura turned heel and they put the lyrics in his music,
and you can't do the woes anymore.
They said, you can't get the audience participation, so it's like that thing of like you are disconnected from me now.
Yeah,
but it was dead. Every time he came out, you listen to that reaction. It's dead. Now, they didn't try to zhuzh it up or anything, like put a beat on it, like they've done with Claudio's music, which is freaking phenomenal. If you've still not heard it, go listen to it. They literally just did do. It's like every time I thought, God Almighty, can I forward it?
Can't wait to see Jack Perry come out now and wrestle to dun, 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 dun.
To me, it did nothing. Now, I know, I get where Dan is coming from. It is, they do that thing, but with classical music, the only person that should have classical music ever was Ric Flair, and that's it. And he did.
You didn't like Flight of the Valkyries for Bryan Danielson?
When they zhuzh it up with a little beat and everything, of course.
The heel Bryan Danielson one, not like when he's Daniel Bryan to the. I mean, it's still rocky and like they've put electric guitars.
Well, he's got Final Countdown now.
Yeah, which is bleeding AEW dry in royalties.
Yeah,
good God,
100%.
Might as well just have like 100%. Led Zeppelin's Immigrant Song and like, oh my God,
Highway to Heaven.
Absolutely bleeding.
But he seems to do that, doesn't he, Tony Khan? If somebody's like on the independents, my music was this, or we'll go all out for like the rights because they done it
RVD's music,
like Pantera and stuff for RVD.
Yeah. I mean, Cult Person. I mean, Living Colour for. I mean, that's all Punk's. Punk's only ever had royalty, not royalty free, but he's only ever had. He had Killswitch Engage for This Fire Burns for when he first started out in AEW and not AEW in ECW and and Raw, the kind of real like the really heavy thing that he used to come out to, and then he's got Cult of Personality by In Living Color. So that's another like set of people you got to pay money to, unless the agreement is that Brian's gone, I'll put up some for it and you put up some for it, and when it's you know what I mean. So like, I want to use it, so I'll put some money up for it and you can put up the rest for it if you book me, whatever it may be. But
what I'm going to do with music very quickly is Danich, who is one of the smartest wrestlers in AEW with music at the moment.
Oh wow, I'm trying to think now.
You always say, because if he leaves, what happens?
MJF, MJF, because he's just picked something royalty free off YouTube, and that music is like, I think it's like number 57 or something on royalty free music on YouTube.
His
so
like
can just
his theme,
it's
royalty free.
No, it's not.
It says he can go anywhere he wants with
He
music.
is the greatest wrestler alive. He is the best in the world. He is unbelievable. Oh my! What an absolute! If he's probably had that from the indies, from when he was training, from everything. He's just gone. That sounds that I can walk. That's a beat. I can be. Oh my god! He is the greatest wrestler alive. Oh my god! He is fucking phenomenal. Which brings on to actually talking about him very quickly and Wrestle Dream at the same point. His tag team match for the Ring of Honor World Championship belts.
Against the Righteous, which I am really digging.
Yeah, has now become a handicap match.
Handicap, yeah. I saw that.
Oh, but do you know what I think MJF? I mean, obviously Adam Cole's injured. In air quotations, injured. But I think he's not match fit to go, and I think they've come to MJF and said, we'll get you a replacement partner or whatever, we'll get you something, or we'll call the match off, and he's gone, no, I've done the best 4-way match in the world. I've done the best dog collar match in the world, best Iron Man match in the world, best his claim, not me saying this is his claim.
I was going to say it's not as good as that Angle Brock Iron Man match.
Well, it's his claim. One of the greatest like story told main events at a pay-per-view for All In this year. Phenomenal. When he come on, it's incredible.
I personally didn't like the match. I thought it was just too on the nose.
Okay.
Yeah, I loved that the Brain Buster. I thought that looked absolutely vicious.
I
like. Yeah, and I like the story that they are now playing with that. I really like that. But I just think the cheating, the throwing the back at the thing, and then MJF just putting it on his head and dropping down. I chuckled, but looking back, I think it's too much. I think there's too much theatre in that. I think it was. I like the 5 more minutes. Hell no, we're going for. I like that. I don't think it needed the cheaty spot. And then I just But go on, carry on.
Anyway,
sorry.
So I think he's then gone around to Tony and gone, well, like, how can I elevate more than that? Oh, put me 1 on 2. This will prove him the best in the world. Put me 1 on 2. Put 2 against me, and I'll do it myself. Does he drop him now? Does he drop the ball?
I think the story is, and I think, and I'd like to know Danich's take on the story as well. But my ideal AEW booking is Adam Cole is making him work. Because you remember 6-7 months ago, MJF said, I don't need wrestle every week.
Yeah.
I aren't wrestling every week. I aren't doing it. And now he's got his friend, he's wrestling more than he's ever done. So I think Adam Cole...
The Dynamite after he said, like, this guy's made me wrestle more in the last, like, month than I have in the last, like, 3 years. And then, like, when he said, I need to go to Paris to kind of relax and get better, you know, but you're right.
But I think now what they're doing is, he still hasn't healed the neck injury. I don't think Adam Cole has broken his ankle. I think he's severely sprained it, but he's playing it. I think him, Roddy, and the Kingdom are going to be a faction.
Oh,
because Adam Cole was in the original Kingdom with Matt Taven and Mike Bennett, and then it was Vincent from the Righteous. He came in to the Kingdom, so they were the OG Kingdom. And then Adam Cole betrayed the Kingdom and went to Bullet Club in Ring of Honor. So that's how it went. And then in the end, somebody with a plague doctor's mask that we don't talk about, who's English, he betrayed Adam and joined the Bullet Club, the villain. I'm not going to say his original name, but he was one of my favourite wrestlers until allegations. But anyway, so that's what I think that's going. Okay. Now, Kyle O'Reilly should be coming back at some point. Now, in the AEW All Access, that show that they did, that reality show, Kyle was training with Adam. They've got to come back at some point. Now, whether Kyle joins with them or not, I don't know. But I think it will, and then the attack on MJF at the end of Dynamite this week, I think the person in the devil mask is not the person that we see now.
I think it's too on the nose for that. It's obviously not MJF to attack Switchblade. Yeah. It's obviously not. Obviously someone's trying to set him up. Some of the theories that are like bouncing around is someone said it might obviously not, of it being Edge. It's not Edge. I think it might be Adam Cole.
I think it's Adam Cole. I think it's Adam Cole, Roddy, because there was 4 of them, weren't there, I think. Yeah. It's going to be Adam, Roddy, because we know Roddy can wrestle without... We know Roddy's not really injured, but you know what I mean. And the Kingdom are there. The Kingdom aren't doing anything. So put them 4 as a faction, and then it's all the master plan on Adam Cole, and he wants that belt. And I think Adam Cole will take that belt off him.
Off MJF?
Yes.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah. I think it'll be the most heartbreaking, in story terms of heartbreaking thing for MJF, which will cement possibly the most vicious heel turn he's ever done. And he's been bad, but I think it's been softening him up with this friendship and I'm your scumbag kind of thing for all the fans to get behind him, for them to get really behind him, that anything bad that he does after this is justified. Because of if Adam Cole's turned on him and broken him and sent him back to being alone, dangerous.
But he'll be the Austin mentality then. There will be the Austin babyface, the anti-hero.
Yeah,
he'll be that. He won't be a heel because obviously Adam Cole's the heel because he's turned on him. But it's leading up to January where we all know that his contract is up.
Yeah.
Now, whether or not he has re-signed or not, we don't know. We actually do not know. We know he signed like an extension to get to here, or he renegotiated some terms or whatever, but we don't know if he's actually signed back with AEW. We don't know. So it might be a goodbye tour for him, like the Daniel Bryan thing, well, Bryan Danielson, but we don't know, and that's the part that I like about it, because it's kind of blurring that kayfabe and shoot stuff. So I like it, but I do think that Adam's the one turning. I think Adam's going with Roddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes the most logical sense from what you're saying there. Yeah,
it's heavy, but it should be good. The thing is, like, yeah, the promo that MJF cuts against Switchblade made Switchblade look like a deer in headlights.
The steak and the tofu analogy was just fantastic. It really was. And I love Switchblade. I've come to adore King Switch. I think he's phenomenal. I've watched him in New Japan before he was the Grand Slam champion. And the only thing I used to like about Switchblade was the end of his matches. So his matches were, if you ever watch his old matches where he was really young, no beard, no nothing, the start of the match was okay, the middle of the match was rubbish, dead boring, but the end sequences, phenomenal. So absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, and he's grown into that full performer where he can do it all, and I think he's phenomenal. I love King Switch, and that match is going to be amazing. But King Switch ain't winning. And I think that, to go back to the point of the promo, he held his own, but I think MJF just ruined him with that. Everybody wants steak, you try and get steak, but you're not steak, you're tofu. So you're just trying to leech onto me. And I thought that was perfect.
It's incredible. So, on, I guess, a similar kind of vein, I know you've seen this list, Wibbles. I'm talking about the best in the world. Don't know if you've seen this list,
I have,
Danich. So I'd like to get your opinion on this, Danich, as I go down. So Pro Wrestling Insider's 500s released their top 10 wrestlers of 2023. Now we're in October. We're in September when the list was written, but I guess you can whenever you want. So I'm going to go down the list, Danich, and I want you to give your honest opinion of whether you think they should be this high, or they should be low, or they should be even higher.
Are we doing just the top 10? Because I'm not doing the 500.
No. I'm just doing the 10. Get ready for a long one, guys. Get a cup of tea. Get ready. Okay, so number 10, Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, I thought he'd be higher, but I suppose he came back in January. Yeah, probably.
Okay.
80.
Number 9 is Josh Alexander from Impact, I think he was.
Impact champion?
Yeah, Impact world champion. Hasn't he been out a long time?
He lost it to what's-his-face, Alex Shelley. And then I don't think I've seen him since. I think that Alex Shelley win was just a case of, you've done so much for the business, Alex. Here's your championship. You deserve it. Josh Alexander is one of those people, a lot like Kurt Angle. He's very technical. He's playing on that amateur wrestler gimmick.
He's got like wears like earmuffs and everything, doesn't he?
Yeah, the singlet.
I've never seen him go. Like, I've never watched Josh Alexander. So is he coming out like old Angle, like the Okay.
He's got the mouthpiece. I personally wouldn't have him at 9. I would have the number 14 on the list, Samoa Joe. Because I think Samoa Joe's... I'd have him there, personally for me. Or Will Ospreay. Mm-hmm. I'd have Will Ospreay in that top 10, because obviously we're going to come up to it in a minute. Let's get through the list, and then I'll say who I think should be in it. Go on, sorry.
Number 8, Orange Cassidy, Danich.
Wow. No, he's had a good year, but it's not my kind of thing with Cassidy. I've said before, I enjoy the Orange Cassidy thing, but they tried make him like really legit, and you've got to... One thing's got to give. If you're going to make him legit, he can't do them little kicks to the shin anymore and things. So, I can see why he's there, but for me, I'd probably have him in the top 20 rather than the top 10.
Okay. Number 7, Okada.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. That's more AIDS thing, because I don't watch a lot of the Japanese stuff. But
okay,
he hasn't been 2018 Okada. Obviously, he ain't going to be, but he's had a very solid year. I think he's always going to be in and around that top 10, regardless. He's just that good.
Momentum for New Japan now.
Yeah.
He's like, if anything happens to the person that you're pushing, you're like, well, Okada could step in and do a little run for us.
Yeah, he is good. I don't think he should be at 7. I think he'd probably in mind just creep in at 10, just because it's Okada, and I'd always have him there. But yeah, this next one's just a crime.
Number 6, as we've been speaking about him, MJF.
No.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, he should be a lot higher. I know we're like all big fans of MJF, but for me, he's like running the number 2 promotion in the world now, because based on size and everything. Yeah, he should be a lot higher.
Yeah. Number 5, especially because of this. When I went through the list and I found out number 5 was, the sheer feeling that went through my body of just.
Why?
Oh yeah.
Why? Go on, announce it.
Number 5, Vikingo, or Vikingo, whatever his name is.
Hijo del Vikingo.
I'm sure he's like the best thing in Triple H. Just I've never really watched any Triple A, but I've seen him a couple of. Is he good, Aid?
No, he's very flippy. He runs across the ropes. If you've seen one match, you've seen them all. I think purely he's going to be on this list for that match he had with Kenny on the Dynamite. Yeah. I wouldn't have him anywhere near the top 30, if I'm being honest. Nowhere near.
Oh, wow.
he's Sin Cara that can actually do his job. That's
Yeah.
how he's Sin Cara that can actually not fuck up, essentially.
Yeah.
Number 4, Gunther.
Yeah.
I think that's a fairly fair place. I don't agree with number 2 or 1, but I think it's a fair place. I would put Gunther in my top 10 for the year.
Yeah, top 5 Gunther. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't agree with 3. I don't agree. 2 years ago, I would agree with 3. I do not agree with 3 at all.
Number 3, John Moxley.
Yeah.
No chance.
Yeah. He's still in the top 10 maybe, but he's not 3.
Yeah. I'd probably like 15th. I probably put John Moxley like 12th. Maybe I could probably think of 10 other wrestlers to put in front of John Moxley.
He's top 20, isn't he? He's top 20, isn't he?
Definitely. But it seems to be that John Moxley doesn't get a hype unless he's got blood running down his face. That seems to just be his thing this year, has just been, how much physical pain can I put myself in? I know what I'll have. I'll have sticks put into my
skewers.
head. Yeah, I'll have skewers into my forehead. And it made me shiver, and it was great to watch. But it's like, I can't remember anything else he does in that match apart from get those in his head. Like that's literally about it. I don't remember anything else that he does.
He's another one though, isn't he? He's like dependable. Like we said the other week with AEW, whenever they've got a bit of trouble, like with the Punk stuff and all of that, get Mox in.
Yeah,
Mox will work, and Mox will do what he needs to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 2, I don't know how you can have him on the list when he's part-time. Number 2...
Because he's had amazing matches.
Roman Reigns. At number 2, though?
I'm sorry.
For the year?
I'm sorry, Tom. I completely agree. I'd have Roman Reigns number 2.
I agree with 2. You know, I agree with Reigns.
Probably because I've never been a mark for him, but I'd... Okay, go on, Dan. Go. Give me why you think. I'll bite my tongue.
Well, no, sorry. He's taken part in the biggest angles this year. You know, no matter what you say and everything, the Bloodline story. Okay, we could have like a separate argument and debate about is it going on too long. I can absolutely see a case for that, but at the same time, it's the biggest storyline WWE have got, and he's been part of the biggest matches that have ended up elevating other people. Okay, he's won them all, but people like Sami Zayn, Cody Rhodes, they are where they are now because Roman Reigns has been the person that's pushed them to that level.
I think my bias is towards this. I agree with what you're saying. I think my bias is because I believe the Bloodline has gone on too long, and I've just been fed up of seeing it and just everything.
There's 2 camps now, isn't there? I'm in the camp of I want to see how this plays out, but I will agree with you, Tom, that the stuff, particularly like now, where you've got like we know the Usos are having a match at WrestleMania, but it's November. And we've got to get to WrestleMania, and it just feels like we're treading water till we get there.
Yeah. I don't. The Cody match. I mean, he has. I think he's for what he did for Sami in particular, like the whole Bloodline did, but especially Roman. What he did for Sami in particular, I more credit for whatever he did for Cody Rhodes. I think that the storyline for Sami Zayn, okay, but I wouldn't necessarily. But I guess it's like I said, it's a crime to put MJF at 6. But I think MJF has just presented more for professional wrestling than Roman Reigns has this year, in particular. Like when they went to Money in the Bank in London, and the heat that Roman was getting off of the best fans in the world for watching professional wrestling, for the singing and the songs. I just don't know. Maybe I'm not buying the Bloodline anymore. I wasn't really on board with it to begin with until it started getting kind of the Sami Zayn sort of heat going on through it. When it was first initialized, I was like, this is just a really self-absorbed gimmick, and that's all I was getting from it. But then that self-absorbedness became like an infatuation for Roman Reigns. It became, Narcissus staring in the pool. It became like, this is my, like, when Cody cuts that promo of like, he'll leave you, they'll leave, everyone will leave you, and you'll be on your own. And then that kind of storyline. When Cody was introduced to the Bloodline, I became a lot more invested in it than prior.
And I see what you're saying, like, but I just think in terms of at the moment, Roman Reigns is the person who's getting everybody to where they need to be. I'm not saying that he's putting on like stellar matches or anything, but for me, what I like in wrestling is the drama, is the storylines, and he's just in the biggest one. So yeah.
So then, number one, Seth Rollins.
I wouldn't have him at number one. I'd have him in the top 5, definitely, but he's just like the workhorse, isn't he, for WWE? Like, let's be honest, they made a title just because Seth is the like number 2 guy. I know that sounds really bad, but that World Heavyweight belt was made for him to have something to do.
Yeah, it's the same. This is why I don't particularly like unified champions, when they've got like one champion with 2 belts, because the every title match from then on out is always just for those 2 belts, and 2 belts just move around and move around and move around.
Yeah, and people say like, oh well, it elevates, Gunther's on Raw, so it elevates the IC belt, but it doesn't, because at the end of the day, it just goes back to you want to be the champion. And unfortunately, Roman ended up in so many storylines with other people that really you can't go back to Seth Rollins. And that's a shame, because, there's a story there. I know Wade said it before, but there's a story with Seth and Roman that they've not tapped into, that I hope one day they actually go down the route for that. Like, at one time, there was a case I would have made for Seth Rollins being the one to actually take it off Roman. But I think that ship has sailed now. I think we're well on the way to, like, either Rock, Cody, or LA Knight being the one.
I don't even think I don't even think LA Knight. I feel like now that Roman Reigns as the champion hasn't... It's weird. I was trying to say. I don't think Roman Reigns as the champion... You know when some people are champions and you think, who the hell is going to take it off of that person? Like, who's going to go and do it? And I don't think Roman Reigns is the person. I have that thing. The title of being head of the table... Like, you're not taking the belt off of Roman Reigns. You're taking the head of the table, the head of the bloodline, this big faction that's dominated for the past 3 years. This great, huge monstrosity of a looming faction that basically runs WWE at the moment. Who do you have to conquer that as a name?
Well, when you're saying that, then that logically goes back to The Rock, because it ties into the whole thing of family.
Exactly.
And, So Rock is, if you're going like playing on that side of it more, that's where I'd go with.
It either has to be someone internally of the bloodline, or someone who isn't there that can. If he takes it, if someone takes from the bloodline, that the bloodline then has to be diminished, has to be destroyed. Yeah. Because otherwise you're just getting the same thing over and over again. The bloodline has to end with the bloodline no longer existing.
I think that's why it is prolonging and going on. Like, for you, it's too long. For me, I'm still on board with it. But I think you're right. That's why it is going on so long, because when it does end, it's got to be the end.
Yeah, has to be the end.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if Rock comes back and takes it, then Rock can say, look, this company's family. It's not down to you guys. It's you and the universe and all that kind of bollocks that he chats about being one of the voice of the people. And then just dilutes it completely and just says there's no hierarchy, there's no table, there's just this, and it's just the belt. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's no you, and you teaming up. It's just who's the number one guy to hold this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's whoosh, that. Yeah, but that list just, I don't know. The list just kind of MJF at number 6 and Vikingo being at number 5 really just kind of threw me the wrong way. I was on board for a lot of it. I was like, Orange Cassidy, I get he's been hot this year.
Well, didn't he have something like 20 or 30 title defenses with that international belt? He went on the run, didn't he? And he had.
I completely forget he's champion. He was champion for such a long time.
Yeah.
Because he came out with it in a bag.
And I think that's partly of why he's in it, and also the starting to get the growth of his character. He isn't there yet. He does need to drop the kicks. If he still does the pockets thing, I wouldn't really be bothered. But drop the kicks, drop one or the other for me. Drop one or the other, and then slowly work away from it. That's what I would do personally. Yeah. But I say the list. I wouldn't have Moxley. I wouldn't have Vikingo. I wouldn't have Alexander. I wouldn't have Cassidy or Rhodes. But that's just me.
I'm amazed Ospreay isn't in that top 10 list. I'm amazed.
Well, Ospreay's 17 on the list. Ospreay is, and I'm shocked by that.
Kenny's not in the top 10.
25. Kenny is
25.
Jericho's 24. Zayn and Owens are 22 and 21 respectively.
I love Chris Jericho, don't get me wrong. I love him. I think he's a fantastic athlete and a fantastic character and sportsman. But if you're going off the basis of the year, Kenny Omega has had a far better year professionally and entertainingly than Chris Jericho. Oh my God, that's fucking funny. Sorry.
I tell you, a glaring omission from the top 20. There was a glaring omission for me. Now, as much as I'm not a huge fan, I am slowly warming to the heel turn that he's had recently. Not recently, but quite a while. Bron Breakker.
Right.
He isn't there. He is, let me find him, I just saw him. He's quite far down the list. Where the hell is he?
I think who else
so, Edge is 50.
Fair enough. He's not really done a great deal this year. He had one alright Hell in a Cell match against Finn Balor. More props to Finn Balor for that, because he got his head caved in and still carried on wrestling.
Well, seeing Finn is... I have just seen him somewhere. I can't be bothered to do Control F and find stuff. I'm going to have to. Control F.
Yeah, so he had to get like...
Finn is 61. Finn is 61.
He's over Edge.
Yeah. But Bron Breakker is 37. I would dare say Bron Breakker for this year, I think he's had a cracking year. And I think the match with Baron Corbin last night was phenomenal. And I'm glad Baron Corbin won, because I'm a big Baron Corbin mark, and I know Danny hates that, but I adore Baron Corbin.
He's an old school kind of heel. But yeah, I don't get it myself.
Yeah, there's Jay White's 32. I mean, Matt Cardona is 31. Matt Cardona has had a banger of a year on the Indies. He's got to be top 20, surely. He's the indie god. He's the indie taker. He's phenomenal. He's been phenomenal. Character work, kayfabe, everything's been phenomenal with him. I'd happily put him above Carmelo Hayes, because I do not get Carmelo Hayes. It's not for me.
Where do they put Carmelo?
13. Above Bryan Danielson, Will Ospreay, and Samoa Joe.
That's a crime.
Brian's been injured for most of the year, though, with his broken arm. However, the first lady on the list is Masha Slamovich, number 15. She is in Impact.
Oh, okay.
She's a hard hitter. She's one of the big, like, she's an Amazon. She is hard. Okay. She's had a good year. I would personally have put Jordan Grace there instead, but I don't know. There's not many ladies on the list, if I'm being honest.
Well, that's more of a shout to Pete. That's more of a shout to Pro Wrestling Insider, I think.
Possibly. But saying that, would you have any of the ladies this year? in a top 30. Yeah, can you think of anyone that's had a good year?
That's had a good year.
Io Sky's had a good year so far.
I say Io Sky's had a good year. The match with Asuka on Raw was a bit sloppy.
Yeah.
I'd say recently, I think Shotski's come back with quite a good mentality and quite a good frame of mindset for wrestling. She's done very, very good. Rhea Ripley has had a cracking year since WrestleMania. She's had a fantastic year.
She's barely defended that belt, though. That's the issue.
She's defended it a few times.
She ain't in the list.
She ain't in the list at all.
Nope.
Out of 500 wrestlers, Rhea Ripley... I recently rewatched the WrestleMania match she had with Charlotte Flair. That's an incredible contender for not even being like the women's match of the year, but just for wrestling matches of the year for top 10. It's an incredible match. Granted, it's Charlotte Flair and calls every 30 seconds right down the camera's fucking microphone, and you hear every move they're gonna make. But
Charlotte's not there either.
Okay,
carry on.
I'm fine with that. Who else has there been? I mean, Bayley hasn't really done anything. Becky Lynch, I can see people backing her. Raquel Rodriguez, Liv Morgan, but she gets injured all the time. Asuka,
Lynch isn't in it.
Lynch isn't in the list. Asuka,
Asuka's not in it. Is this a list just of men?
Well, you can't, because you just said that women are in it.
Yeah, Masha Slamovich is a woman. I'm sure she is.
I'm
I'm 100%
do
sure.
a Google check on that before.
No, I'm 100% sure she's a lead. I mean, you've got Ali Catchin. Ali Catch is a woman. I know Ali Catch is 100%.
Did
she's in GCW.
Did Daddy Ass make the list? He's had quite a good year.
No.
My God, I don't know what constitutes this list then.
I've had enough this list. Let's move on.
Yeah. Let's okay. Well, let's get on to talking about what we said we were going to talk about. We said we were going to talk about finishers. So Dan says he's got some notes written about finishers for this segment, because last week we started talking about the hidden blade, didn't we? About how do you take the hidden blade? How do you just prepare yourself for that? Because of Okada that he injured, was it?
Mm-mm.
Who was it? Sorry.
Ibushi.
So we got discussing like just thinking about finishers and kind of like how do you take certain ones, which are good finishers, which are bad finishers, what constitutes a good finisher. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos this week about finishers, and one of the things that keeps propping up all the time, I don't know if people are copying each other, but a finisher needs to be something that you can believe to be finishing the match, that you see it coming and it can believably be the end of the match. Something that is in keeping with the character's persona as the move hits, and something that physically looks like it would do someone in, that physically looks like it could be the end of a match. Something that's recognizable, something that's in keeping with the character, and something that is painful, that looks like it could possibly do you in. So I don't really kind of know where we want to start with this, but Danish, what have you got written down on finishers, mate? If there's anything you want to talk about or start with that might kick us off into this.
Well, my thing was, like you were saying, best finishers. It's got to look impactful. It's got, like you say, Tom, it's got to look like it actually does some damage. So in that respect, number one for me, the finisher that I absolutely love is the spear. Like, you know, the people who've got the spear. It's such a good move to kind of like signify that's the end of the match.
Okay. Sorry, seeing if you're not watching this on YouTube, Adrian Aid's face just firmly planted into his hand, and I feel you, Aid, because I think I agree that a spear can look like it does somebody in, but I think it depends who does it.
Right, now this is where, in my notes, I'm like, some spears yes, other spears no. Say what you want about him, Goldberg, he's a massive guy, so when he hits a spear, it looks like it absolutely just takes all the wind out somebody's sails. Edge I love Edge, but he's just like a bit too small to be a spear, kind of like, as the finisher. And also, do you remember when Edge did that terrible thing? Was it with Jericho where he tried to get the crowd to chant spear. And I was like, no, this isn't working. You can't just chant for a move. So like, yeah, it depends who's using it. Like Rhino, I think the gore is one of the best finishers.
Mm.
I know I'm not
agree with that
convincing.
No. I love the gore. I love the gore. The only reason I think that Goldberg it looked like it is because he literally at that time in his heyday WCW, he couldn't work, so he probably, I'd say, 70-80% of the time. He actually did it. Yeah, he did it.
Oh yeah, his spears. If you watch his spears are hard. His spears are like death. That when he hits them, because he does zero of the proper technique for him. He just got like a rugby tackle. Like he just goes in and just takes the man down. And however it looks is however it looks. He tucks his head down and in like. This is where my kind of learning how to take a bump. So you kind of want to, unless you're taking bump on your shoulders, you kind of want to keep your frame kind of solid. And like if they're gonna hold your head, it's to hug your head and keep you stable. But when Goldberg does his spears, his chin goes to like his chest, so any arm that goes around it is just locking his neck like this.
Yeah.
So they look like they hurt him a lot more than they hurt somebody else. With Edge's spear, minus the getting people to chant it, when he's so rapid when he hits it, like it's so fast, and he doesn't like. It looks more like a gut punch with the shoulder than it does like a spear because he hits them and immediately like turns. So he always finishes his spear like on his knees in front of them, like, and they just take. I don't think it's a great finisher, but I'm a big advocate for Edge's spear. Rhino's gore because of the size of Rhino when he runs at you and like literally like being charged by a rhinoceros is deadly to look at. So yeah, I agree with that. That's horrendous.
I would put Bron Breaker's spear in that because I think Bron Breaker's really got the Goldberg-esque spear. I don't know if anybody's seen it for a while because he's been lethal, and you can just see him, and he puts everything into that. Bron does, and you can see. But I don't think it's a finisher. Like it wasn't a finisher for Goldberg. The jackhammer was his finisher.
Yeah,
it was his signature, wasn't it?
It's been a setup move, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's a signature move. Yeah,
I mean, you can say it was the finishing sequence, but he never. I can't think of anyone that he actually pinned with a spear. He always finished it with a jackhammer.
Yeah.
And
I feel sorry for Edge because Edge's finishes outside of the spear are not
the execution.
It was terrible. I think that's an.
It was that uplifting DDT, wasn't it?
The
reverse uplifting DDT.
Yeah, it wasn't. It didn't look great, and then he just kind of resorted to the spear. The best bit about the spear was him in the corner. Was the build up to it? Was the
pulling the hair and
and the hand up and all this kind of stuff was great. But I'm glad that one name hasn't been because I think his spears are terrible. Roman Reigns' hate Roman Reigns' spears. Hate them. Hate the build up to them. Hate this whole like shout he does.
He kind of to the side as well. I've noticed when he does it, he doesn't hit full on.
No,
he hits kind of like the body's there, and he doesn't go through him. He kind of comes at the side of him.
Yeah,
when he leaves, it's a weird way to say it.
Like an American football tackle. Like he doesn't. He just kind of like he just goes into the man rather than like. They have to look nice as well. I know it's like it's supposed to be like an assault and it's supposed to be wrestling, fighting, but it has to look nice.
Yes.
But on the vein of a spear not being a finisher, I was thinking about it today and I was looking at finishers and they brought up Nikki ASH when she was when Nikki Ash was in her superhero days. Yeah. And her finisher was a crossbody.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. A terrible, terrible finish. But I was thinking, does an aerial move, is it because of the height constitute it being a finisher?
It's supposed to knock the wind out of you when you come down into that. That's what it is.
Yeah. But I was just thinking, but you think about the amount of people that do high flying stuff or off the top rope stuff all the time when it's not their finisher. and they kick out of it at 2 or kick out of it at 1, does it constitute, like the amount of people that do, like Kevin Owens does a swanton now, does he win off a swanton? No. Jeff Hardy does a swanton, he wins. But in that vein, Jeff Hardy will take that swanton to the extreme. He'll hit them from tops of ladders, he'll hit them from barricades and standings and all that kind of stuff. But what
they always say with the finisher is, I know what you're saying, you're comparing them, like, if I hit a hot crossbody or didn't get to not crossbody, why is it different? They always say that the person that's hit the finisher, they've perfected it, and they know stuff that the others don't.
Mm-hmm.
So Kevin Owens hitting the swanton is an homage to Jeff. Say it's like a copy of Jeff.
Yeah,
he doesn't know the secret of how to hit. That's why Jeff finishes, and Kevin doesn't.
Yeah,
I think that's where the kayfabe comes in. Yeah,
right.
It's perfected on Jeff.
The ownership of that move that makes it the finisher. Okay.
Yeah,
because Dom, to talk about Raw, Dom hit possibly since the late great Eddie, since his dad, hit possibly one of the most beautiful. I know Rob Van Dam does it as well, but the 5-star that Dom hit on Dragon Lee was perfect. It was great place. The kickback, it looked like a work of art. Like if we go, this is what I miss about having like flash photography cameras. When you used to watch wrestling back in like the 2000s and people would jump off of shit and there'd just be lights everywhere. It was like one of those. It was just stardom, absolutely gorgeous. And it it looked beautiful, and that niche of knowing something. I don't think Dom has ever hit a 619 yet, by the way. Just on terms of his finishes, I don't think he's
when he was a face, he did.
Yeah, but I mean like Dirty Dom. I don't think Dirty Dom has hit a 619 yet. But just the thing. I'm just concerned. Like, do high flying moves off of the top rope, are they substantial enough to constitute being a finisher?
Yeah, because Frog Splash, RVD did it, Eddie did it, Montez Ford has got one of the best Frog Splashes I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And as well, I always love about Rob Van Dam the way that he would sell that the move hurts him just as much as the opponent.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
The arms wrapped around the stomach, the kicking as he does it. Yeah.
Yeah. The idea that a finisher is that needed, that it's going to hurt you, but I know it'll like get the job done. I like
that. That's a really good term, that, Danich. I like that. A finish that looks like you're on, like, you're at the end. You've only got one. You've got one trick. It's gonna be sweet. I got this one move.
Austin used to do it with a stunner every now and again. I used to call them like desperation stunners, like where he'd been taking a beating and he'd have like a few seconds and he'd hit a stunner, but it wouldn't end the match because he was so beat up himself that it was just like, right, I know this will buy me some time to like regroup.
That is a fantastic. If you're doing top 10s of finishers, the stunner is the Steve Austin stunner is a fantastic finisher. It offers so much, as it's been proven, it offers so much to be sold in so many different ways. It just looks so good. When Triple H gets hit by it and just doesn't move for like a good minute, he's just there rocking back and forth and then falls on the front. It stuns him. It does what it says on the tin. It's a fantastic finisher. It's an unbelievable finisher.
I know Aid will probably agree with that as well. I know Aid's a big stunner fan, aren't you, Aid?
Yeah. So Danich always says something to me about finishes, and when we always say we said, me and Danich have said it so many times, for a finisher, you've got to put it on it. You've got to be able to put it on anyone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because what's the point in trying to have, say, the pile driver that Ray Phoenix did on Moxley, the Phoenix driver.
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine him doing that to Mark Henry? No chance. No.
Yeah.
So a good finisher has got to be able to finish anyone.
Yes.
So for me, in that term, the Stunner's number one. Because you are just literally grabbing anyone.
Yeah, kicking them in the gut.
Yeah, and you've got that leverage and that weight of yourself, dropping yourself and pulling them. And I think that, to me, is probably the pinnacle of finishes, because you can just put it on anyone.
Yeah.
And as Danny said at the start, when he first started doing it with like Savio and different things, he did it was a semi-stunner where they grabbed him and he just dropped him down. It was normally with the head.
Yeah.
So it was like a jawbreaker. Yeah. But then every now and again, as Danny said, he'd just drop a stunner and then just roll out and just as just like a spacer, get out my way kind of thing. But I think in terms of moves that are super flashy and just look like they hurt, the Steiner screwdriver. Now, for those that have never seen it, and for those that may have done, Brian Cage does it. It's called the drill claw that Brian Cage. But you want to see the Steiner version in Japan. Now, Scott Steiner used to do it, and it was when he was not Popper Pump big, but he was big, and it was literally a suplex. He held him there, span him into like a sit-down tombstone. Phenomenal. If you go, I'll let you have a look at it now, so we can see your reaction at it. And you want him in Japan with it, because it's only really where he broke it out.
Steiner screwdriver. Where's this? That's against all odds.
Yeah, you don't want old Steiner doing it. It was garbage. He'd have been in all of his colourful gear. And he's singlet with big hair.
Is that what we want? Big hair?
Yeah. It's the all-American Steiner.
Oh, okay. Got 18 seconds. Yeah, 18 seconds. All-American singlet. Okay, so laying up for a suplex. He goes up, holds him. Oh my god! That was interesting.
It goes against... Yeah. That's where he broke it out. He never broke it out in America until later in his career.
Because it was illegal.
It was always there. I think he did it in WWE once, and WWF didn't he, Dan? He did it once.
I mean,
maybe
fair enough.
When they had that run as a tag team in the early 90s, yeah, possibly.
I think he broke it out once.
But he only did it, like, Steiners were one of them ones, if you were working, say, against, like, head shrinkers or a proper team, they were alright with you, but if they were like facing like Bill Bailey or somebody on Challenge, they'd just absolutely smash you.
Jesus, yeah, it's brutal. It's absolutely brutal. I mean, like for a tombstone or for any kind of like pile driver. I mean, I know a lot of pile drive. I mean, in WWE in particular, pile drivers are banned. Like you're not allowed to do them anymore because they're severely dangerous. Because if they go wrong, you can die or end your career or whatever it may be, because your head is literally being driven into the mat. So your thighs, people who don't like leg day, I'm sorry, professional wrestling, you're going to need to do it a couple of days, because that's the safety net for your friends and the people that you're working with. Yeah, because they go in between there and their shoulders take all the impact into, or their traps take all the impact into your thighs as you take it, which is, again, you have to have the look for it, because Switchblade doesn't have legs. They're blades of legs as well. They're very, very thin. I have very thin legs. Will not be doing a pile driver. So like, it has to. That's deadly. That's a finisher. That is literally that. Yeah. That's a triple X finisher. That could be finish the match. Finish your life. He has to
catch you as well, because he switches you around. He has to catch it. If he doesn't catch you right or catch you in time, it's over.
Well, luckily, yeah. So he has you in a suplex position. As he lifts you up, he turns you into like a brain buster. So he turns you into the side.
Yes, he kind of turns you slightly.
So he gives you a little bit of leeway, and then he has to go and round and. Yeah, that
Steiner screwdriver is my favourite move of all finishes. It just looks the business, and it looks like it's a finisher.
Yeah,
like Austin's looks like a finisher. Switchblade's Sister Abigail, which is basically Blade Runner, but Sister Abigail. How he talks that, it's amazing. As much as I hate him, Cody Rhodes, Crossroads, It's a finisher. You can get it on anyone again.
Yeah.
These finishers,
I'd say
you can.
With Cody's kinda. I mean, like with Sister Abigail,
He's got it on Big Show before.
Has he done it on Big Show? Okay, there we go. If he's done it on the show, that's where I do the limit for a lot of finishes. If you can do it on the show, you can do it.
Yeah,
you can do it to any. If you can do it on the biggest guy, you can do it on the littlest guy. And if Cena can do the attitude adjustment, or for those that prefer the original term, the FU, if you could do that on show, which he did do. You can do that on anybody. You can do that on anybody. That I would consider a finisher. It's much better than his STF because that's a dog in STF. It's terribly done. But I would consider that a finisher because he has you. He's got you on the hard cam. He's got you held up. And it's once, and it's boom, and it's over.
Okay, so I'd like to counter that. Go on, Dan. You go first, mate.
Well, like same vein, F5. It's because of who it is, the size of him. Again, he's done it on Big Show. I always think that is one thing that if it legitimately hits somebody, they're not moving for weeks. It's so impactful.
It comes from the cell as well for the F5. Go on, sorry, Ed.
I'd like to counter both of those moves and say, they are finishers. They are 100%. But to hit that move, if we're going by what looks real, and obviously I know it's not, and it's all scripted, whatever.
What?
But for me, anything where you've got to pick the opponent up, that opponent has got to be pretty damaged and pretty weak. Mm-hmm. You can't flash hit it because for a fact if someone tried to pick you up in a fight, you'd be like, "Get off me, you knob!"
Yeah,
you'd be like, "Get off!" You'd struggle, you'd fight, and I get that. You have to wear it, but if you've worn them down enough, so they can, if you've worn them down enough that they'll stand on your shoulders for 5 or 6 seconds, you can just pin them. You don't need that finisher.
That's very true. That's a very very good point. A lot of the way Cena would build up for his would be off the ropes usually, wouldn't it? They'd either reverse an Irish whip and then he'd whip them up onto their shoulders, or he'd start the 5 moves of doom, which I'm not entirely sure. Was that considered a finisher? Did he finish off the 5-knuckle shuffle? No, he'd hit it and then he'd pump up his Jordans, wouldn't he? He'd start pumping up his Jordans, and then he'd stand there and he'd wait, and they'd get up and then turn, and then he'd pick them up. So I get that lean way in kind of works. You are relying on the guy to kind of get up, which in a real fight, if you've hit a guy like that and then you've hit him in the head and he's lying on the floor, you'd probably just end it there, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'm also a big fan of, like, when the best way to describe it is when MMA wrestlers come in, when they do MMA personalities. So the catch a hide mate I love, which is the Cobra Clutch, not the Cobra Clutch, it's Hook's finisher. Mm-hmm. It was Tazzy's finisher. I love that finisher because it's legit. You are choking somebody, and if you get your hooks in them, so if you pull all your weight backwards and drop them, or you put the legs in, there's no way they're going to wrestle. There's no way they're going to get out of it. You physically can't.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So the ankle lock, fair enough, you can move, but he's got the ankle lock.
Yeah.
Daniel's label lock. The issue with the label lock and also the Rings of Saturn / Brutalizer, anything like that, the guy's got to be down and hurt to do it. Mm-hmm. So if the guy's down and hurt to do it already, do you really need it? Whereas the stunner, it's just impactful. It's just out of nowhere. The Steiner screwdriver, it kind of goes against my rules. You have to get him up. You have to do it. Is he thingy? But then going to your point of it has to fit the character.
Yeah.
Steiner's a twat.
So
Steiner will just do it. Yeah, Steiner will do it just to do it.
Yeah.
That's how I kind of look at it.
The video I see, he gets him up and then he's like egging people. He's like, let's do it. Yeah. It's a good, those kind of moves where you have to hold them for a while. Great heel moves, really, really good heel moves because you get heat time on them. When you're talking about like the label lock and the angle lock and stuff like that, we could take on the side of Danich then. Sharpshooter of like not liking Bret Hart as a finisher for sharpshooting. If you have to get them down and you have to hold their legs and their legs then have to be Jenga puzzled and moved. Same with the figure four. If you've got to be fair, the figure four gets hit fairly quickly. If Rick's doing it, it gets hit fairly quickly, and it looks really really good when he kind of does it. But those kind of submissions when you have to sort of hold the legs, and Brett would always play it up. He'd never hit that sharpshooter quickly. He'd always hold the legs, look, and then go into it. And if you've got that time, do you really need it?
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful finisher, don't get me wrong. I love the sharpshooter. I think it looks gorgeous.
I like the Texas Cloverleaf over it. I think the Texas Cloverleaf's miles better than that. I love the Texas Cloverleaf submission. But again, it's a weird one because you can just go with what you like and what looks good. Like, is it necessary? Is it not? I don't think it matters anymore. Like, everyone kicks out of them anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
Like the Black Arrow, the Red Arrow / Black Arrow for Pac, looks phenomenal. He takes about 34 years to get up that rope, and he stands there and balances himself. But when he hits it, it's phenomenal. It's one of my favourites. But I know I sit there and I'm like, taking about 7 to 10 seconds here, balance. You can just roll out the way because the guy's looking like, oh shit, what's he doing? Oh, here he comes. Bollocks. Ow, that hit. It's like by that time, you just like Orange away. Cassidy. He rolled away. Yeah, he rolled away. It's like, makes sense.
Yeah. No, it does.
But no, I do. My top finishers: Steiner Screwdriver, Stunner. RKO. You can get on anyone.
Yeah. I was going to talk about it. I've got
written down here, Diamond Cutter. When DDP had that run in WCW of how are you going to get when the finisher was the best part of the match because it was on. How is it like he's wrestling Big Show this week? How is he going to get the Diamond Cutter on this man? And sometimes he'd be like on the top rope for the choke slam, and he'd reverse that into the Diamond Cutter, and he made the finisher the talking aspect of the match. Where's it going to come from? Brilliant.
Yeah. Yes.
Same with Randy.
That gimmick was phenomenal because he was saying, wasn't he, I can get it on you wherever you go.
Yeah.
I can hit
move
that cutter.
You've got, whatever position you get me in, I will get that Diamond Cutter out on you.
Yeah. And they went through about 3 to 4 months, I think it was, maybe 6, where he hit it in a number of different ways. He did the spin around, hit it. He did like out of a suplex and stuff. They did it so well because
off the top rope into it.
Yeah. So everything that Randy Orton's done, it was done before by DDP.
Oh my god!
It was such a good gimmick, and it was ace.
It's such a good because it literally out of nowhere. But literally comes out of nowhere. I unfortunately wasn't around for the WCW days of watching DDP wrestle, and like it is
with his bad ribs.
It is
every week. When DDP was a face, every week he had his ribs taped. Every week for about 7 years. Didn't he, Danich?
Yeah, the NW. That's seriously the biggest victim of the NW.
I've probably seen photos of him. Did he have short, spiky blonde hair?
No, he had curly, long blonde hair.
Oh, it's not at all. I thought he had like short, spiky blonde hair with an earring, and I don't know why I thought that was him. Somebody.
That's Nigel McGuinness. That is.
I had no idea. No idea. It's
Nigel McGuinness. He used to have yellow spike, yeah.
But Randy's the one. Some of the ones Randy has hit. I mean, the Seth Rollins out of the stomp is incredible. That's
phenomenal.
Beautiful. The height, but that's all on. The thing is, Randy's very humble about it. Like when he's asked people, like I think it was on the Austin podcast. And he's like, you've hit this in some incredible places. And he's like, yeah, but I don't come up with the ideas. It all comes from everybody else who's like, look, I'm going to do the airborne. Do you want to catch me out of the air when I do it? Yeah, sure. Yeah, great. Let's try that. And it looks phenomenal. It looks incredible. Yeah. The stomp I'd say in terms of in the middle of a match as a comeback is the best one he's ever done, is the one against Seth Rollins. I think it just looks incredible. The build up to that and is such good writing. The one he hits on Brock Lesnar during Paul Heyman's promo about you'll never hit an RKO, you won't get a chance to hit an RKO.
Yes.
And he just comes in and turns and points to the back of his fucking shirt out of nowhere. That, when he comes out on crutches and he's like, he gets one kicked away and he just like throws the other crutch, hits it, and then just starts stamping his bad foot into the ring. He plays off that cutter so well. 10 times better than the Cody cutter. I think that's so ugly. I don't think it suits Cody Rhodes because he's too big to be doing that kind of stuff, to be bouncing off the middle rope and to be hitting it.
I despise it.
But Brock sold that like a mother when they wrestled. Oh my god. He took that full on to the face when he ripped his shorts. Full on to the face and full on into the mat. Unbelievable finisher. But we've done so many good ones. Let's talk hokey. Let's talk like real fucking hokey ass finishers that not necessarily shouldn't be a finisher because of what the move is, but are just stupid to be finishers. And I spoke about him last week with his music. I'll speak about him this week with his finisher. The leg drop Hogan hits, the atomic leg drop Hogan hits, is not a finisher.
I've got that written down.
For hokey or for good? Okay, good.
But I love Hogan, but the leg drop is not. It was then because the world was different and things were as extreme, you know.
And people got it. No, shit move.
Anything like next to it in my notes, I've got anything where you, as the opponent, have to lie there. Like if I'm wrestling Hulk and he says, I want to drop the leg drop, I know he's going to get up, he's going to clap, he's going to point to 3 sections of the crowd. All the while, I've just got to lie there like an idiot, being like, oh, what's he going to do now? Same with The Rock, the people's elbow, anything where you've got to wait to receive the move like that is ridiculous, because if it was like, you know, in kayfabe, you'd be like, well, I'm going to get out the ring because I've been lying here a while. I think he's going to go for the elbow.
Yeah.
But that was a legitimate joke, wasn't it? He made that in a house show. He did it in a house show to pop either Taker or somebody. And then either Taker or Austin went, keep doing it. Yeah. Keep doing it. That's how that came about. So that was always going to be a hokey move, and it is. I personally think the best person to do the people's elbow is Ric Flair.
Oh, love
to WrestleMania with Batista as a tag match. If you haven't seen it, go see it. Which Mania is it, Danich? Is it like 20 or 21?
20.
Yeah, go watch it.
Seems to always be in the 20 and 21 seems to have the greatest fucking.
It's freaking amazing. Just because Ric Flair's going, yeah, and he's just making some stupid noises with his elbows. It's an absolute.
Is that the one as well where The Rock does get the elbow on him and he does the Ric Flair strut as part of the elbow?
Yes, he does. Yeah,
the strut. I love Ric Flair's strut. It's not a finish, but I just love the. But it looks so good. It's just such good.
That's because he's the GOAT. That's why.
He is the best in the world.
So for me, hokey move. The Mr. Sacco.
Does he finish with mandible?
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's not a pin finish, is it? It's a deny. Can't go on anymore. It's a total knockout, isn't it? TKO.
Yeah,
it can't go out.
Now, I believe the actual mandible claw. If somebody does do it and does it,
yeah.
I believe it does. It is an actual thing.
Yeah,
like it's something.
It's fingers in the mouth, and it's a thumb pushing up. So you're pushing their tongue and the pressure point in their jaw. It's excruciating. Yeah, but
so that in that way, but put a fucking stupid sock with a face on it and marker pen. Piss off.
It's character.
Oh, I've just got mandible claw altogether because I just think visually it's so. You've got to think about, like, I get what you're saying. It is excruciatingly painful, and that's absolutely fine. Yeah. But in terms of, like, you know, the AEW show the other week, there was 80,000 people there. If I've only got a cheap seat, I'd be like, what's Mankind doing? Is he just like... Yeah. So it's kind of like one of them things of, like, you said the sharpshooter. Visually, yes, I can see what you're doing. You've pretzeled that guy's legs, and he's going to have to tap out. With a mandible claw, you're kind of like, what is it you're trying to do? What? So I think the visual aspect, it's good in that you can get it on anybody, but visually it doesn't really.
Reliable.
Like, a crowd's not going to get on the feet and go, yeah, the mandible claw.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, no one's gonna be like,
oh, the Cobra, is it? Isn't the Cobra?
No, it's not the Cobra where you just like jabs. But the to be fair, he does have a build up for it where he takes the sock out and like he wait. You see him put it on, so you know it's gonna happen. But in terms of like it being like if it goes on for longer than 30 seconds, you're kind of like, all right, where's this going now? Okay, has he won yet? No. All right, sock's still in the poor guy's mouth. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
In that vein, Britt Baker's lockjaw. It's essentially the same.
It's the same thing.
It is, yeah. All she's done is got him in the rings of Saturn, so to speak. She's got the arm back, so she's got him prone anyway.
Yeah.
And then she's doing the mandible claw.
She has to put a glove on as well in the middle of that submission, which is insane. Also, with the sock, you're putting like a lot of stuff in the mouth. If anyone put on a gloved hand or even a mandible claw, put fingers in my mouth, bite them. Exactly, bite them.
Yeah,
it's the dumb. Anything that involves me putting shit here, like bite them. Like same with the STFs. Like if it's across my nose and it's pulling the bridge in my nose back, ow! I can't do anything about that. Seeing as that was like under the chin, didn't really kind of do anything. There was no pressure there. But then people have put it in front of the mouth. Bite him in the wrist. Just give him a nice cheeky little nibble, and they'll fucking let go of you. It makes submissive moves as a finisher have to be so precise, and I feel like a lot of people feel cheated when the submission is the reason for like the end of a match when it's a tap out. I think that's why we don't see submission matches anymore, where it's just a pure that's how you get the win over. Because I think it can either.
Well,
be
the other thing
hokey.
with the submission matches, it's gonna. That's the whole story of the match. So you're just going to watch two people try and put move after move on each other rather than an interesting
you know how it's
going to
end. Like the only way it can end is it. Same with I guess with a tables match, it's a bit more exciting because there's a table, but you know how it's going to end. You know it's going to have to end with someone going through a table. You know it's going to have to end with someone being submitted. So you're watching two people go through the motions for a designated finish. Same with
on the vein of submission moves. I'll tell you what I don't like. MJF Salt of the Earth, Fujiwara armbar. That's all it is. It's a Fujiwara armbar. It doesn't suit MJF. It's been my only gripe with MJF since he started. He's got an armbar as a finisher. It's like
he doesn't really have like a dedicate, apart from like like people have like an offensive and a submissive finisher. He doesn't really have like an offensive thing to do. He steals.
He has
stuff.
now. He's got the kangaroo kick.
Yeah, but that's not his. Like
he made the kangaroo kick. Apart from kangaroos, obviously doing the kick.
No, but I thought he took it off of the Australian lads. I thought that's why, like during the match, he took it off it.
No. So what they did is they went to a restaurant him and Adam Cole did, and they were talking about like tactics for them, and then MJF was like and he literally just saw a picture of a kangaroo doing a kick on a human. That was it. And then he's like, kangaroo kick, and then he got it over. That's where the kangaroo kick was originated from. But I just don't think that. I don't think it suits him. It's not hokey. It doesn't look hokey. It's not that. It just doesn't suit him. Hokey finishes. I mean, I think for me, there's always one that sticks out, and I don't. There's two actually. There's two, and I might get a bit of flack for these. I probably won't. X-Pac's Bronco Buster.
We don't like X-Pac.
No,
I want to finish it though, Wade.
Was it not? What did he use as his finisher then?
X Factor, like a
sit out power slam. Yeah, no, fair enough. Ignore that. Okay then, Road Dogg's pump handle slam. Bullshit. Tell me, where's the lie?
But he bummed you.
Stop me when I'm telling lies.
Well, he bummed me. Oh yeah, great. That's good then.
Do you wanna go down it?
I lost my dignity and I got pinned. Amazing.
What about Visceras? Do you remember the world's largest slot machines finisher?
Yeah.
How,
no.
that, I mean, to be fair,
I don't mind anyone who's big, like a fat guy, anyone like that with like, I am just going to use my weight. Like one of my favourite finishers, Bonsai drop.
Yokozuna. Yeah, I knew that was coming.
Amazing.
Yes.
Just like a big guy, I am going to sit on you and it will take the air out of you.
Yeah.
And it bloody will. You know,
on that premise of a guy that's like as big as Big Daddy V doing that to me, yeah, I think I would want the match to end so I could just go to the showers and like clean myself off after that horrific scene of happening to me in the middle of the ring. But it's not a finisher. It's not a finisher. And again, if you, like you said, if you have to lie in the ring, he's got to flip me onto my back. First of all, he's got not onto my back, onto my front. He's got to flip me onto my front. He's then got to stand over my head and then do some wild hip thrusts before doing a splash on me, and then roll. Then not even rolling, but then maneuvering round to then violate me 6 or 8 times in the middle of the ring with all of that weight. How do you?
Funny story about Viscera. And I'll let Danich tell it. Tell the Diesel / Undertaker story, Danich.
Oh God!
About Viscera.
Not my boy.
Just like Diesel in '95, was it when?
Yeah, it was before he went.
When he was Mabel and he was going to win King of the Ring, and Diesel had said like, "We're going to have this match, but I just want to tell you, my back really hurts. So if you can, don't do that splash on my back." Like, you know, just go easy on that. And about 2 minutes into the match, he just does the biggie splash on Diesel's back. Straight away. And like Nash said, it put him out for like another 3 months, that did, because he said like he was in agony after that. Same with like Undertaker, yeah, he just, didn't he fracture his eye socket?
Yeah. It was when he was wearing the Phantom mask. It was when he was wearing the Phantom mask.
Ran at him, didn't he?
And then when Mabel came back in like 1999, Undertaker was like, put him in a faction with me, because if he's in a faction with me, he won't injure me.
He won't injure me, yeah. Yeah.
And that's why Viscera got put in the Ministry of Darkness, because Undertaker was like, I don't mind him here, but I don't want to wrestle him, so he's going to be on my side.
Yeah. No, yeah, because his orbital socket got fractured, didn't he? Because he ran at him in the corner.
With that big splash, the big splash.
Oh my God. Yeah.
The two people that you don't really want, especially 95 Diesel, had quite a bit of sway. He was either champ or he was coming up to the main event.
He was champ all of 95 pretty much.
There you go. So he's your biggest star. I'll injure him, and then take it of all the people. Taker, you injured.
The big dog of the locker. I can't stand Kevin Nash. There we go. That's it. Another big hoke. WMD from Big Show. It's a punch.
Yeah.
He's been punching you all match. What's